head in my negative tag team deal after that Buffalo game where they jumped. All I can tell you is Dolphins number one, baby!
Names up, baby.
Dolphins
Names
number
up.
one!
I swear, if a certain quarterback is mentioned in the comments, got my beers ready, I'm going to crack it open.
Or is it the Serbian kid?
Serbia kid,
This looks done. Oh my god, it looks fantastic.
I'm the man. I said it, and it's reality. All right.
Congratulations.
Welcome, folks. I'm Matt Foley, and I'm a motivational speaker. I'm here because I'm living in a van down by the river. No, I'm Dave Stager. How you doing? This is my co-host, Bret Lagasse. Beautiful new hat. I like it, Bret. How you doing tonight?
Thank you. I mean, I'm good now that we started with the old Saturday Night Live reference, Chris Farley reference, one of the greatest actors of our time. Rest in peace.
All right, Chris. But no, I'm glad to be here. We got postponed tonight because someone's old.
Yes. Beat up.
I love how I'm a year older and I'm calling you old. But anyways, no, I we all got family life. We got work. That's why we got to adjust this thing. And we may be on tonight. We may be on Monday night. We may be on Monday morning. Who knows? It just
That's what it's huddle up and wait.
Yeah, huddle up and literally huddle up, but the huddle up part is when it shifts, and then you gotta wait. So that's the point. But no, glad to have you folks. I know that a lot of stuff has happened throughout the week, even though it doesn't seem like it. But the draft is upcoming. We did the mock draft last week, and going on top of that, our subject tonight is going to be the biggest risk prospects that could fall through the draft. And what that means for teams and how they're going to adjust stuff along those lines. So I know it's another boring draft concept, but it's the biggest risk players that basically what we call boomer bust, right, Bret?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of guys. I don't know if there's a lot of guys, but this draft is kind of weird. So when we say fall, it could be one of those things where the media are saying one thing, but the NFL thinks another. Everybody should know that the NFL is definitely on a different page than the media. And by the time this time of year comes around, the media is trying to play catch up to the NFL because certain players that they're like, oh, well, that, the media is all of a sudden really high on this guy. That's because NFL teams have been high on this guy. These scouts see these guys from their first day at the college all the way through. So they're already there all the time. They've watched these guys from the beginning to the end. They have notes on them from the very beginning to the very end. So they have an idea. And by the time they're draft eligible, they've already spoke with a scout or multiple scouts of whether they should declare or where they feel like they're graded, and they get a roundabout grade and all that. So, yeah. So for us, when we say fall, it could the NFL might not be surprising. Larry Tunsil, that was more of a surprise because that was the day of, oh shit,
surprise planned.
Right. Yeah. So we're like, the NFL team's kind of like, oh shit, like what do? We don't really have time to really discuss this with our pick. So the Dolphins that finally took him, what pick was it now? I don't remember.
I don't remember what pick they took.
It doesn't really matter, but it was in the teens, and they had time to figure it out before he got there. They had about an hour or two to figure out, okay, is it worth taking? Let's do a couple phone calls. There you go. So stuff like that's a little different. But for us, it's based on what we know now as from the outside, not NFL.
Well, before we do dive into that, I do want to say thank you again for joining us. And please like and subscribe. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button for Fins Talk Sports Network. Hit the subscribe button for Huddle Up and Wait. I know we're annoying, but I know you love us because that's why you're
here.
But I know Bret hit me up earlier today. We like to cover mental issues and mental health issues and mental health struggles and stuff along those lines. And first off, I do just want to go out and say prayers to the folks in Nashville, Tennessee, that's going on from Covenant School. The 3 children, 3 adults that passed from this horrific incident. So I know that happened, and everyone's all over social media, including myself, because I'm just flabbergasted by the reactions from some people. So I just want to say prayers out to those folks and those folks' families. And
unfortunate what happened.
It's a horrific situation.
Yeah.
Now, this was translating into our fun segment. What grinds Bret's gears? So I know this was important to you. I know it's important to me. I'm gonna let you go ahead and take it away, buddy.
So real quick, let's make this a quick segment. Talk about like mental health and everything, and we talked about things with players, and we look at a kid like Jalen Carter, and we talk about him, how he's been, getting kicked down and falling down just because he's making some mistakes as a young kid, things that Henry Ruggs did, things that people have done. And the one thing the NFL has not done a lot of is focus on mental health. It's like, you need to be mentally prepared or nothing at all. And it's like, these guys, they are very young going into a situation that they're not prepared for. They're not ready to inherit these millions of dollars. They don't have mentors. They don't have they don't have any of that. And these guys that already have like a little bit of a mental health issue, look at Ryan Leaf back in the day. He was collapsing.
Yep.
Some guys collapse under the pressure and they're like, oh, they're an asshole. Well, we don't take time to understand it. I'm not saying let's be soft on these guys because they're grown men and this is life. The real world will chew you up and spit you out. You join the military, you and I know, like, they don't give a shit that it's your first job outside of your mom and dad. They're going to make you into the man and woman they need you to.
And if you can't adapt, you will be removed.
Adapt or die. So, it just kind of frustrates me with the media just trashes. And I think we've talked about this before. The media just kind of trashes these young guys. Like, they never made mistakes as a young person. Like, at least approach this from the standpoint of, you're not trashing a kid. You're saying he made a mistake. We all been young and dumb. We've all, try to get away with maybe drinking when we're not supposed to, or going out partying and staying out late and all that stuff. And I still don't like that they said he's a immature kid or mental case and all that. Then all of a sudden all this comes out. I still don't like it because he's a young kid. You tell me he got caught street racing, and yeah, maybe he doesn't study, maybe he parties a little bit, and that's understandable. When he falls in the draft, fine, and that's what we're gonna see. But like, don't trash the kids who are just typical young adults that are entering the working world. You know what I mean? Like, I deal with a couple young kids at work, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, you're giving me graze. Like, I just want to choke you and smack you. But it doesn't mean I'm not like saying, oh, well, he's not going through anything. He's only 23. He has no idea what the stuff I go through as a 36-year-old. No, like, I'm not thinking about that. I'm like, I'm trying to teach him, hey, look, you have to learn to put that shit to the side and get to work. And I'm trying to guide him that way. Well, that's the same thing that these coaches do, but I don't think the NFL does a good job of that. Then we see guys have mental breakdowns. We see guys go on to drugs that they don't talk about. We see guys the Josh Gordon situation. I feel like it was one of the biggest screw ups in the NFL. A very talented kid, not just because he's talented, just because he needed it. He talked about his anxiety is bad. I deal with anxiety. It's not easy to deal with. And playing in the NFL, anxiety is not going to be easy to deal with. And the way he coped with it was through marijuana. But the NFL didn't seem to really do anything about it or want to know.
Him and actually try to say, what can we do to help this kid?
Right, exactly. Now, if they went through, like, okay, we're going to get you through, like, it's more old school. It's like, sending someone to a camp because they're gay. It's like, it's what? You know what I mean? It's like the old school, very like, beat you with a Bible until you get it kind of thing. And it's not the way it should be. It should be like, hey, let's take you under a wing. Okay, why do you keep failing these drug tests? And it's like, if you look at it like, okay, if the guy's like doing heavy drugs, totally different story. But how come the coach that snorted coke in his office got fired and then went to rehab and came back? It felt like he got more of a smack on the wrist than Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon kept getting suspended. Yeah, so it's like, it's all over the place. And that's what part of like these guys fall in. Are we really falling because I'm not like, if a guy's got weak confidence and a fragile psyche, NFL teams are scared. But if a guy like doesn't have a weak psyche and is just going through a hard time, can you build him up? Can you fix him? Can you help him? Look at Chris Carter back in the day. If a mentor coach didn't step in to take care of him or help him grow up, Dick Vermeil cut him. And that was the only thing he could think of to help him grow up. He did. Look at Chris Carter.
Addicted to Adderall.
Yep. So again, and that's another thing. So it's just like, help these guys out with the mental. I think mental health needs to be a big thing. I know wrestling has a WWE has like a policy with that stuff, and they also help the mental health. the NFL and sports need to have more counselors involved with these guys. Help them out. Some of these guys have been through shit. You know what I mean? They've been through a shit life, and then they get to the NFL, and it's like everything they've ever dreamed of is now just thrown at them, and that's a lot to take in. And then they kind of they spiral out of control. So I think honestly, it's important for the NFL to help them with that. And then after NFL, I imagine myself right now, 36 years old. I'll be 36 in July. Where would I be right now? Like, shit, I got the rest of my life. I got a long time. I'm thinking to myself, what would I do the rest of my life if I had to retire right now? Even though I'm wealthy, what would I do? That's kind of scary to think of. So it's like that's something that the NFL needs to do, publicly help these guys in a better sense, or make it known to these players, because
I agree.
You see too much.
I also have a guy that I thought was kind of pushed to the side, and he actually jumped and took control of his own mental struggles. Brandon Marshall. He was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and the NFL didn't do anything to help him cope with it and work with it. He went and did that on his own. Yeah. I feel like, now, one, that's awesome, because Brandon took life by the horns and said, I'm not going to let this thing dominate me. I'm going to dominate it. And I just don't like – and now the guys went and started up Athletes First, and he's on all these different news programs for being a sports analyst, and I love that. But it's just the fact that NFL was so quick to dismiss him and make him seem like a bad guy. And he is one of the greatest dudes off the field. Yeah, people don't realize all the work he does with all these high school students, the college students, these charities, these events, and they just wanted to paint him as this mad cow player, basically, because
remember when he got in the league, they called him Baby Terrell Owens. And Terrell Owens is another study. People didn't understand him, so they're like throwing him to the side because they didn't understand him as a human being and how he.
All he did was sit up in his driveway, and people made him out to be this monster. I don't get it.
Yeah, exactly. And now there's lines you draw, but giving someone a second chance and all that stuff. Well, that's a story for another day, but there's things like that. And that's exactly a good point. Knowing everybody just wrote him off as a bad person. Joe Philbin cut him. Didn't even give him a chance, or one of them traded. Didn't even want to give him a chance. And that's just something. And then he wore the green cleats. I know it happened on Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but he kind of was the beginning of that My Calls thing, because he wanted to wear the green cleats, and they kept finding them, and he kept bringing it up. Dude, it's Mental Health Awareness Month as well, and it's affected me. Too. Yeah, and so he's like, I'm wearing the green ones. Find me then. Here's my check for the fines I'm going to inherit this week or this month. Here's my check. Go ahead. I'm going to wear them. Screw. And I love that because it's important. And yeah. So let's move on to the topic, because we can talk
actually you would have translation perfect into it from Jalen. This is called the biggest boomer bust prospects, and it's not because of their play. It could be, but there's also other stuff off the field, and we're going to transition to biggest boomer bust players and who could fall on the draft board. And we just mentioned him earlier, Jalen Carter, the off-field stuff. Does that cause him to drop? I think he would have been in the top 5, probably guaranteed, if this stuff didn't happen, for one. I know he had a bad pro day workout, but he's going to have another one before the draft comes up. He's already said that. His agent said that. So that's going to take care of that issue. But even if, I don't see him falling out of the top 10. I don't see Jalen Carter getting past Atlanta, Detroit, Seattle, any of those teams in that last back of the top 10. I don't see it.
Yeah. And Leo Collins went undrafted, but that all happened when he was not even a suspect. He was a person of interest during the murder trial and
then they dismissed it right after the draft.
And they found he had nothing to do with it, but the police were doing their due diligence, and he was just someone who knew the person, dated the person that died. They just wanted to speak with him.
Happened to be on the draft when they released it.
Right. So again, these agents are sharks taking advantage of these young kids. I hate it. Nick Saban brought that up. So no, if he went to draft, I still think if teams knew he had nothing going on, I think they would have drafted him in the first round still. But Jalen Carter, if you look at him, he got probation for that crash that ended up killing somebody. Yeah. And yes, someone did die, but you have to ask yourself, are you comfortable with that situation? And I think for him, it's a lot of people will still take him.
He's a blue chip player. I know people wanted to try and say they look at him differently because of that, but on the field, he's still a blue chip defensive player. He's one of those guys you want as a top defensive lineman.
We're not talking DUI here. We're not talking drunk, reckless. We're talking a guy racing. I know a guy with the high school wrapped his car around a tree from just driving reckless. 2 girls in a car got seriously hurt, and a guy in the front seat got hurt. He passed away, unfortunately, at 18 years old. But, looking back, would you call him a bad kid for it? No. He was just a teenager, and unfortunately, he died. He was just being a teenager. But I hate to make it light like that, but he wasn't getting shit-faced drunk and killing somebody. You know what I mean? Like someone else, like Henry Ruggs did. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about just going out, being dumb, being young and dumb. And no, it's not okay that someone died in the car with him. That's not what I mean. But I'm just saying he wasn't being. To me, it's not the same thing as drinking and driving and killing somebody.
No, yeah, I completely agree.
Because the teammate was in the car with him, right?
Yeah. There was a teammate in a car. There was a teammate in a car with him, and he came forward and told him all that stuff too. So
yeah,
it's just the whole fact. It was yes, it was dumb, but the thing is, the police made it way bigger than it needed to be. Yeah. I've never seen a report that put out for a misdemeanor charge.
So I don't think it was. Real quick,
I think someone leaked it to the media.
I think someone leaked that information is out there. I know plenty of police, and there is a lot of investigation for minor things. Public, it seems,
but to go out
right. But I think the media or somebody pushed it too far, and maybe it was a team hoping he would fall to them. We don't know.
Yeah. Anthony came out with a thank you for being here, Anthony, with a comment saying that there's going to be a smoke screen for Carolina to get Anderson. Listen, no. If there's a smoke screen, they might take another QB. You're not going to trade DJ Moore this year's first, next year's first, 2 seconds to go take
unless
rusher. It's not going to happen.
Unless Carolina, not saying they will, unless they're
planning trade back, sure. But
unless they're trying to say we want Lamar Jackson, we're going to trade this pick for him. But I don't see that. So not seeing that. Unless it's something like a situation like that, or maybe they got into the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes or something, which again I highly doubt. Unless there's something along those lines, I don't see them doing that. I think they're going to just go ahead and get up. I think they're going to go ahead and take Stroud.
Yeah, it's written on the wall. Even Josh McCown, when he went in to lean with him on the video, and he goes, "Yeah, man, we'll go ahead and find those basketball courts when you get in Charlotte."
Yeah.
Come on, he's already hyped him up before he went to the Panthers as a quarterback coach. Mm-hmm. Josh loves this guy. Frank is going to listen to his quarterback coach. Now, Frank gets the final say. We get that.
Right.
But obviously, if McCown's going to be there and brought for a reason, he's going to help kind of, hey, we need this guy. We need this guy. So,
but Frank is a quarterback guy, a very intelligent quarterback guy. Yes. He's been around. He played. He coached. He's been around a long time.
Slap in Indy.
Yeah. So I feel bad for him. Indy was just a bad situation.
But anyways, it's not that they won't take Anderson because it's just a trade up in the amount. Mm-hmm. You don't do that for a blue chip edge rusher in that. It's just, I like Anderson. He's a really good player, but with the quarterbacks being very limited this year in the top 5 and that tier of being Stroud or Young or Levis, it's just not going to happen.
So my next player, the player I think will fall, Anthony Richardson.
I think he's being hyped up a little too much.
I think the media is doing all the hyping. I think the NFL teams know what he is. I think this is like a Malik Willis thing last year. Malik fell a little further than I think he should have. Anthony Richardson is getting a lot of hype. And we've had him mocked in the first round based on that hype, but I actually can see him fall into the second round or late in the first. Because he's not as polished and experienced as guys that have fallen even further. Lamar Jackson went 32nd overall, and everybody agrees he should have went higher. But Josh Allen went really high, but Josh Allen also he had a little bit more tools. I think Trey Lance from the 49ers. I really think him going as high as he did with limited experience, I think that has set the bar high for some guys like that. But I just don't think Richardson is quite as
that was just a boo by San Francisco. That to me,
that was a reach, but I don't know. But if Jordan Love went, where'd he go? 30? No, they traded up, right? So Jordan Love got drafted in the first round, and the bottom
26 though,
yeah. So it wasn't really that high. It's the bottom third of the first. So he went probably where he should have. But Jordan Love was a better prospect to me than Anthony Richardson. He was, to me, more ready than Anthony Richardson. So that just tells you what I think. But I think Anthony Richardson falls a lot
Are you
further
telling
than
me you're
people
feeling
think.
the love in the room?
No, I just think Jordan Love had a down year the year he got drafted. But I'm not feeling the love behind it.
Because I'm feeling the love right here.
Dave wants all the love behind him.
Oh yeah, all day
So
long.
who's another one?
Jordan? My next player, even though I think some team will probably take him in the top 10, I think the biggest boomer bust, and I've been all over social media. I know Bret's seen this. I know Michael Vogel's seen this. I am not a Quentin Johnston guy. The guy,
he was on my list of guys I could fall to.
People try to do, he's got raw athleticism. Okay, but he body catches way too much. He doesn't fight through DBs. He has a limited route tree. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not sold on him. I feel like he is a poor man's DK Metcalf. Not saying it's a bad thing, but I feel like he needs some development. He's got a second round grade on him. Now, if my Packers were taking the second round, I'd be like, okay, I like it because there's value there. But first over Jackson Smith and Jigba, over Jordan Addison, over Taylor Hyatt, over Zay Flowers. No, that they're polished. They're ready to go.
But he also doesn't play to his size. Like there are certain teams where I think he fits, where I think they can develop him. But there's
Ringo put him in his place in the national championship.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of reminds me of the kid out of Auburn that played for the Steelers. His name will come to me. Bad, I'm bad with names. I brain dumped a lot of names.
When what era? What year?
Anthony, don't steal my thunder, dude. Sammy Coates.
Oh God, yes. Sammy Coates.
Big guy, fast, doesn't play that big, not great hands. Just
2 years and he just disappeared.
Potential. I mean, Sammy Coates was like a fantastic pick to develop, and Pittsburgh is the type of team that could afford to lose out because they draft so well all the time. But
he wasn't ready. He just wasn't ready to take that leap into the NFL because Keely Ringo, when Quentin Johnston faced it, that's an NFL caliber corner. That's what you're going to face every single weekend in the NFL. What that's going to happen if he did that against him in that game on the biggest stage, I'm sorry, I'm not sold. I think Quentin Johnston falls to the second.
Yeah.
Some team might take him on the raw athleticism because people looked at the DK Metcalf aspect. Everyone, he's got raw athleticism, but his tools didn't really show until he got into the season when he started playing.
Yeah. And he's like a fast guy for his size, but I mean, that's about it. Now, Anthony kind of stole my thunder here with Miles Murphy, so I'll go a different direction because I do think Miles Murphy falls. I do think the Clemson guys are talented players.
Clemson edge rushers.
But I think Clemson is a lot based on their system. We'll find out after they've been a couple years without Venables, but they haven't lived up to the hype, and I don't helmet scout, and because Miles Murphy is a talented player, but they seem to do a lot of the scheming there the same way. So I do think he's a talented player. I do think he's worth drafting for sure, but I think he falls a little further than people are expecting. Maybe mid to later first round is probably about where he'll go. But I'll go another way. Another name that people like that I think NFL teams are cool on.
You took two of them.
Lucas Van Ness.
You don't like Hercules in the top 15?
Love him as a player. Think he's a fantastic player. But I think there's some aspects to his game where NFL teams are like, I'm really not comfortable taking him there. I'm not sure where I'm going to put him, so he's going to slide a little bit. I won't take him at top 15 or whatever, just because there's some stiffness to him a little bit. I'm not saying he won't be a good player because I think he will, but I think there's some teams are like, I'm going to go a different direction here at this pick. If I could trade down, I'll be happy getting him. I don't see him go. I think he'll go like top 20 to 30. Like I think he goes 20 to 30 range.
So this is kind of like a bonus one for me, but like it's because the reports have come out. Apparently, Will Levis has bombed some interviews. Apparently, at the combine, the pro days, he's full of himself. And I'm like, Jesus, is this Josh Rosen all over again? That's what Josh Rosen did. And he just was full of himself, never showed any humbleness, never acknowledged he was bad, like in any part of a game film or coach or GM brought up. That's a huge issue with these executives and scouts. And if you rub them the wrong way, word's going to spread.
Mm-hmm. Like, so you have to be able to balance confidence and arrogance and
humbleness. Eat the humble pie in front of them. That's what they want.
I heard something about him being arrogant before, and I think there's some quarterbacks that have played and had success in the NFL that are arrogant, but there's guys that fell that had just that arrogance that people didn't like.
Rodgers fell because of it.
Yeah. And there's guys who weren't arrogant that have really succeeded too. So Johnny Manziel is another one that was really arrogant. Jay Cutler kind of had that attitude sometimes. So, these are guys that kind of came in with a little bit of arrogance, and Blake Bortles, I think, was another one. So, like, these guys all came in with had that arrogance. Everybody remembers Ryan Leaf and all that stuff. And again, it goes back to the whole mental thing. And this is where teams do a good job, is they can see that mental things with certain guys that are like real arrogant, and they're like, yeah, I'm not going to deal with that, or they rub you the wrong way in an interview. Like, we're not a
Did
fit.
you see Jay's comment?
Packers break the wide receiver curse at 15 with Jackson. Bang. Aaron Rodgers becomes that meme of that guy. Like, what the hell, man?
But that's because Love will throw to a rookie wide receiver. Rodgers won't. Anyway,
get receivers in the second round.
I wanted to bring up someone else. I'm going double dipping at Clemson. Trenton Simpson.
Yes.
I don't feel he's this top tier inside linebacker that everyone wants to. I feel like guys like Drew Sanders and Jack Campbell are that. I don't feel that Trenton Simpson's that guy. Like, I don't. If someone's going to take him, I feel just like I said. I don't like the helmet scout, but Clemson has the notorious record of Clemson guys in the first round, and they're just like on the edge linebackers. Most recently, Vic Beasley, Cleveland Farrell. All top guys selected in the first round, and they just completely disappeared after having 1 to 2 good years.
Stephon Anthony, who I thought was going to be an absolute stud. Like, I just watched his tape. Like, this guy gets it. He gets in the passing lanes. He's twitchy. The dude's a beast, and he gets the NFL, and it's like he looks like a lost dog. And I'm like, what happened? Like,
there's one guy. There's one guy in Clemson I will hammer the table for, and I know I've said his name here. I know I've said it on the clock. KJ Henry. The dude will go out and get you 8 to 10 sacks a year, but he will play run defense better than anyone on your team. The guy is amazing at freaking holding the edge, holding those QBs in the pocket, making sure the running backs don't get to the outside. I'm telling you, KJ Henry, if the Finns have a shot at 3rd, 4th round, you take him. That's just me.
I can see that.
All right, who's your next guy?
Oh, man. I hate talking about this guy because I can never say his name right. That's Sia Ika. I don't know how to say his name.
Iki.
Yeah. So the kid at the D tackle out of Baylor, he was hyped up early on. I think he's a decent prospect, but I think he's more like that just space eater in the middle. Strong, powerful. Yeah. He gets off the ball pretty quick, pretty good. But like to me, he's not a top 10. He's not a first. I don't even know if he's a first round pick. If he is, it's late first. I don't see him as like this top first round pick. I think he's going to be a little bit more scheme dependent. I think he can play obviously in any system, but I think it's going to be certain teams that like him a little better for what they do or what they actually could use in the middle. Yeah. So, yeah, I think I don't think he's going to go as high as everybody thinks. A lot of people are saying first round. I don't see it.
Now, it's more of a position for me that I feel like it's going to fall out of the first, and a lot of people are projecting up in there. Tight end. I feel like a lot of people are going to say, oh, yeah, we got to start wait until they make the run. You got Michael Mayer, Darnell Washington, Dalton Kincaid, Luke Musk. You got all these top prospects. I feel like they're going to go right at the very end of the first or early second or mid-second, right in that range of those 30s all the way to the mid-40s, 50s, somewhere around there. I just don't see teams taking a tight end. Like,
I'll call it right now. I don't think a tight end goes in the first, at least not in the first 20 picks.
Listen, if Darnell Washington had the stats to back up his raw athleticism, I'd be like, okay, top 20 pick all day long. But he just doesn't have the stat. That's the problem.
Real quick, production is a part of the formula evaluation. Durability, big games, stats, production is all broken up. Leadership, size, athleticism, all broken up into one giant formula. Each team does a little different. However, it's basically the same concept. So,
yeah.
And I'm going to make this. I think
Michael Vogel wrong.
I could be wrong. Could be wrong here.
Hold on, Michael Vogel. Did you see what he said?
No.
He said, I heard DeJuan Jones is going to drop to Miami at 51. No.
I would love that. But I'll
I'm
say
calling
one
it a
thing
marijuana
real
tip
quick.
right now.
I think Jahmyr Gibbs falls in the second round. I don't think he stays in. I don't think he goes in first. And I think Bijan Robinson, if the Eagles don't take him, I think he slides a little bit.
Okay, can I say something on that?
Mhm. Yeah.
I think. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta takes him at 8. I've been hearing some chirping. Not saying it's going to happen, but
Sorry.
if Bijan goes at 8, yes, there's a big chance he goes at 10 because I heard Howie loves him, but
Good.
we don't know if he's going to take him at 10. There's
Sorry, I
a
said
ton of
16,
teams in the teams I think that can take him. And if that happens, if he goes before 20, I think Gibbs goes to the back end of the first. If Bijan slides to the 20s, Gibbs goes out of the first.
Yeah,
It matters. Gibbs gets drafted in the first or second, depending on
maybe a run goes.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't see it.
I'm telling you. What is going on?
Bobby.
What?
Is that? It's not me. I don't know what's happening.
You
here.
ever seen the Oscars when it's time to close it out?
Oh, Bobby, I don't watch the Oscars.
I'm not 75 years old, Roberto.
Well, but in the not so subtle way, our producer's telling us to wrap it up, and that's it for us.
Get the out of here! You didn't pay rent. Anyway, I got one more prospect. We'll wrap it up. Kalijah Kancey. His 40 time pushed him up the board. He was more of an early second, late 1st.
Mhm.
It pushed him up in the board. A lot of mocks in the mid-teens. He's another boomer bust guy. You can transform him into edge, have him drop some weight, have him bulk up, make him be a 3-tech inside pass rusher.
Mhm.
That was my last guy for my pick was Kalijah Kancey. Great young guy on film, and to be able to show the interior pass rush. But I got to see what teams are going to do with him and where they're going to play him. Outside, inside, maybe be a floater back and forth. So we'll see. I just no, and I guess I wish I could talk about more draft prospects, but
Well, we can.
kicking
We
us.
can. We can talk to the next show.
Screw, we're doing it. We're not kidding. Folks, thank you for joining us for a short huddle up and wait. Just going over some big, risky draft prospects up and down the board. So, I mean, there's plenty of them out there to look over, but those are the biggest ones in Bret and I's opinion. And
I think so.
Bret is a huge study of draft stuff over here, and I know he's diving in now right before the drafts, and that way he kind of get everything at once.
behind.
I always dive in at like November, December, and I start looking at tape because I'm just a nut like that.
I'm behind, so I'm already focused on 24.
Hey, look, folks, so give the same line like I'm a spouse at home. Hey, when are you getting home from work? I'm at work. But no, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all in the comments, the chat, and get everything up. Hit the like and subscribe button, and please, mental awareness, mental health, take care of yourself. If you know someone in need, yourself in need, please call. There's plenty of hotlines.
Yes.
There's help out for you. Reach out to Bret and I. Reach out to Bobby, our producer. Our lines are open on social media, so you can get a hold of us if you even need to chat. You may not know us, but we're great listeners. So, hey, on here with football, just like that, we got your 6 for mental health.